Where do people know you from around town?
Well, from seeing me at music events, like you would have said, I started on April 1st, 2012, just shooting music all over town and collecting songs to post a new one each day on my YouTube channel in my project Everyday Music. So,
And it's an awesome idea, and you've got the passion and the stamina to see it through, and that's awesome. Because you're smiling here, and I know you're enjoying what you're doing.
Yeah, I'd have to be, or I wouldn't have done it. And you know, it's not an endurance test, and it's not a marathon. There are days I don't shoot music. There are days I don't post music. You know, if I'm not really feeling it, then I'll just hold back, and you know, when it feels right, and then I'll go back out. Then the stuff starts going up again. You know, over these 1,000 days, it's not going to be hard to find 1,000 groups and great songs to post.
Yeah.
And each one that I do post has a significance for me. And that's typically why I do it. I don't do it for any other purpose. I'm not, you know, attending to any other priority. I just want to choose songs that mean something to me and select memories that I want to preserve forever in this thing. You know.
Yeah. And like, when did the inspiration first strike? Like, were you already a regular gig goer and a music fan, or did you like sort of wake up one day and a shot of lightning and you started to like music and wanted to see bands? Well,
I mean, I've always loved music, and when I was in college, I became the mixtape guy. I found a library in Edmonton that had thousands of albums, and I just started taking home as many as I could and making tapes on a regular basis. That evolved into CDs in the 90s, and you know, so I've literally collected and shared music really actively since my college days. But for me, I started a business, I had a family, and I spent like a decade at home. And then I had just started going out again and started going to the Rio on a regular basis and meeting the East Van music scene and just starting to get really acquainted with people. And it just blew me away what I was finding. So that was part of the inspiration. And then I had a friend who asked me, because I had created another channel. It's called The Inner Tube TV on YouTube as well, and I posted a few hundred videos there just of live concert stuff that I had shot on a tiny little Sony camera, but they looked and sounded good. So I had a friend ask me to come out and tape a few songs with his daughters, his 3 daughters, the Simon sisters, and it was so beautiful that it was literally inspiring to me. And I was having one of those late night, you know, up doing Facebook and very bored kind of sessions, and asked myself what I would do every day if I could, and that just literally popped into my head that I would want to go out and tape music. And so, you know, the 1,000 number's been rolling around inside my head for a while as well. So it all just kind of came together all at once, and then I started a month later. And
because weren't you going to do like only a few hundred first, wasn't it? Like
it was always
1,000.
Right off the bat, all these things just literally just popped into my head, and I just decided to make it happen. I think it was in February when I came up with the idea, and it took me a little while to get the blog together and figure out what else I was going to do with Facebook and Twitter, and all that subsequently fallen apart because I really don't have time for that kind of stuff. But I wanted to be prepared, and so I got prepared in like March, but there wasn't a date in March that had any significance to me, so I just decided April 1st, you know, and that's when I started. I started with Maria in the Shower, day number 1, with a song called Tomorrow Song. And of course, back then, you know, I was talking to people about doing this thing, and they were like, yeah, sure, whatever, good luck. You know? But I was very persistent at that point, talking to everybody that I could find and trying to gain access to shows and get songs. And, you know, it just got easier as I went along. Now I'm 754 or 5 days in.
And this is, I mean, literally something that you couldn't have even done maybe 10 years ago. I mean, to have the immediate audience on YouTube that's archived, like, you could have taken films for yourself, would have maybe sat in your garage for a year or something, but to be able to have this immediately seen is awesome.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I can't say I have a huge audience. I haven't really worked to promote it, and that's very necessary. I really seem to be taking the same kind of arc as independent musicians and trying to grapple with all this stuff that you have to do all the time to, you know, to make things popular. And so I really haven't accepted that burden. I've kind of, you know, shrugged it and just stayed true to what really mattered to me, which was just walking this path, you know, doing this journey, having this adventure, so that I could truly enjoy the experience.
Yeah.
But YouTube and new technology have made it possible. As a cameraman, I used to literally shoot stuff and then hand the tapes over to someone else, and then rarely even see it again. You know, my best footage only ever seen through my viewfinder, you know?
Yeah.
And this allows me to choose, but it also allows me to, you know, put it up immediately if I want to, and for it to be seen by anybody. And,
exactly.
And it is kind of amazing how this whole one-shot video idea is revolutionizing the internet, and how many people are able to get, like, millions of views, literally, on just stuff they, you know, a song they play, a cover that they play in their, you know, bedroom or basement. It's quite incredible how people have access to music now and each other through these technologies.
And that's why it's great, because you've recorded a lot of fairly well-known established acts, and then also people like myself. I was just in someone's friend's backyard, and there you were, and I'd never been filmed in my life. So have you got a few stories like that of people who you could tell that you're really giving them a special moment? It was special for me, I can definitely say.
Well, recently I met an Australian girl at a friend's place at Sleeping Bag Studios, where I just showed up for a Saturday to shoot 7 or 8 bands, and I recorded her first song that she'd ever written.
Oh, wow.
She's never been recorded before, and she was so nervous that it took about an hour for us to, you know, kind of get them done and get them out. But there's a lot of situations like that, you know, where people are just willing to try it for the first time, and I do really encourage that. I've never been interested in catching the rising star, focusing on big bands. I'm really only interested in the song. But there's been several people that have kind of really wanted to, you know, to get involved in this, and so I've encouraged, like, virtually anybody to do so.
As I guess, Rod, you were just telling me off air that this project of yours has taken on a life of its own, and it's really been a huge part of your life.
Very much so. It's kind of become my compass these days, and my life has become extremely chaotic over the last year or so, and it's given me something to focus on and stick with. But the other thing we were talking about during the last break was smaller events and house concerts and things like that. There's so many more of those these days because of you know, the difficulty of getting larger crowds, selling tickets and getting into, you know, official venues, and so what I'm finding more and more of is these wonderful intimate little events, smaller spaces that people are opening, kind of underground, and, you know, little speakeasies and that kind of thing. And what I'm truly loving about that is the nature of the sound, is the fidelity that you get out of these intimate little events. Because the louder the sound, the louder the crowd. Everybody ends up screaming in the background so that they can hear themselves. But in these more intimate environments, no matter what kind of music is playing, people are more attentive, and the sound is so much better. So I just find, you know, that kind of experience far more rewarding than going out to the average bar or club these days. And it's a really remarkable part of the local scene that hardly anybody knows about, because it's a fairly private network.
Well, that's the thing. It's hard to advertise that stuff. I wish I had access to more of them. I guess in time I will. Like I was just saying, I went to a great one last week with Jamison Troy and Olivia Sharp, but there's so much stuff going on that I guess it's on Facebook and stuff.
Yeah, Facebook, you know, tells me about most of it, but the weird thing about Facebook is that, you know, it's harder and harder for people to promote their projects, and so, you know, for me, it's become a fairly random experience. Virtually every event I go to, every place I go, I talk to people, and they'll tell me about new bands, and they'll tell me about shows, and I'll actually go. And you know, that just keeps carrying on, you know. And I just keep finding about new venues and new groups every day, and then pursue it.
So we're talking with Rob Matheson of Everyday Music. Ooh, that was an ad. Everyday Music TV. So if you're just tuning in, so what he's been doing is recording live music around the city of Vancouver and uploading. He's going to get to 1,000 videos by the end of this year. Oh.
December 26th this year is my day 1,000. I've actually already posted over 800 songs for the... I'm supposed to have put up 755 artists now, but I'm a couple days behind this week. Because I'll put up bonus tracks and redos when I just see an artist live and I choose a song from their performance. I will offer to them afterwards that if they want to get together, they can choose a song and perform it for me, and I can put it up as a redo. And
yeah.
I've done several of those, which is really neat because it'll start off, I'll just find this band in a venue and I'll choose a song that matters to me in some way, and then get to share that with them. And then later on, we get back together and we can chat, and it's a completely different experience when they just have a little private concert for me.
Yeah, yeah.
And I get to put up a song that way.
Yeah. Oh man, it's so great chatting with you because I can tell you love what you're doing, and as I do here, this is what we do here at the station. What you're doing is so aligned with CiTR's mandate, is to support local music. And interestingly, Rod is good friends with High Society, who are about to play. You said that Chelsea was one of your first.
Yeah, Chelsea was day 12, but I think I might have shot her before I even started. The tune that she did was a kind of a mash of a few tunes in her head, and so after it came out, she needed to find a title for it, and so I waited patiently for a few weeks until she actually put a title on it, and then I put it up on day 12. And Adam, who's playing keyboards and singing, was day 34. And he's normally a keyboard player, but when I got to his apartment building the day we were going to shoot a song, the piano ended up locked in a common room, and so we couldn't do a piano. So he grabbed a guitar, and we looked outside, we looked in an elevator, and we ended up in a stairwell and just improvised
cool.
a tune that way. Yeah. Wow. And the other ones I've just... Basically, we're not all pals. We've just met along the way, and we see each other everywhere. And and I'm eager to have them speak later because it's rare for me to really hear the artist's perspective. I met them early on when people were just looking at me like, "Yeah, sure, buddy, you're gonna do what? Oh yeah, good luck with that."
Yeah,
But there were several artists that were really kind and supportive, and even when I'd show up with my tiny little Sony camera, they would lay one down for me, and so it was very meaningful that it happened to be them that were showing up and performing today.
And you happened to mention that the two performers playing, you knew the off the top of your head the day they were. Is your brain now that you could...
not every day. I actually looked it up.
Yeah.
Okay. No. I mean, because I posted over 800 songs, I don't have a handle on that at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wish. Have it all cataloged.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and the beauty of this is it'll be out there for a long, long time to go. Because, you said you haven't put a huge amount of work into promoting it, but, it'll be promoted just through the long space of time as well, that this will be out there, and it'll become known.
I think it's once it's done, it'll be a thing.
Yeah, it'll be exactly
that crazy guy that did that 1,000-day thing, and there'll probably be 1,200-1,300 songs up there. And I kind of view it like a musical puzzle in some ways too, because this stuff actually has significance and meaning to me. I put these things up for a reason, and they all kind of weave together in a way that actually makes sense to me. But most people don't recognize anything along those lines yet.
Yeah.
The kind of music that I tend to focus on, the reasons why, it becomes more evident as you look through hundreds of them. But most people simply look at the things that they like or the people they know or that sort of thing, and very few people have really experienced it in its entirety. But I've had a couple people that have actually told me later on that they started at one and they start watching all the way through. There's always going to be stuff that they skip over.
Yeah.
But it's a completely different experience when you get it at it in that linear fashion.